All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Fear the Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the start for the 5th season for Fear the Walking Dead. And this one, we're going to give our thoughts on after the recent comments yesterday in the Dwight confirmation of a crossover video. A lot of people pretty upset. I think it's easy for us to say at this point that Fear the Walking Dead is the most hated Walking Dead property there is. And this one's pretty funny, I think. I wanted to go ahead and do it because it just kind of cracks me up. And it's one that, like, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it at all. So yesterday, we were doing the video giving our thoughts on Dwight crossing over from the original Walking Dead series into Fear. He will not be returning to the Walking Dead television series, at least at this point. He may never return to the Walking Dead television series again. He may be a Fear character going forward and straight through. And, I think it makes sense. There's always the comparisons between Dwight and Daryl, and Daryl did exile him, so he either defies Daryl and comes back as a villain or something, or somehow Daryl gives him a pardon if he was to return to the original series. And basically this is telling us that he's not going to be returning to the original series. And of course, in all this time that's passed recently, is it possible that eventually he could find his way to the Fear group as they're traveling around and trying to find people to join, and Morgan and the others and make their group bigger? Yeah, it makes sense, especially if he's going to head in that direction. So, but a lot of people did not like this information. They are not happy that Dwight is crossing over into Fear the Walking Dead. They did not want, this is not what they wanted. They wanted Dwight to come back to the original Walking Dead series, and I get that too, because the original Walking Dead does feel pretty light in terms of the roster now. If you look at where they left things off at the end of Season 8 compared to right now, they're bringing in all the Whispers, so they're bringing in some new characters in that, and of course you have Henry who's growing up, and so things are things are really changing up a lot for the original Walking Dead show, but it is looking pretty slim pickings as far as kind of those older characters go. I'm talking like, of course, Rick, and there was Carl last year, and well, at least the first half of last year. And, the whole All-Out War storyline and everything that was happening with that. So the Walking Dead original television series could probably use some more key characters here. And we're going to, we're seeing the Whispers, come in real soon here. And we'll have to see how things go with the rest of the group and who kind of gets more time, whether or not Maggie returns to the original Walking Dead series next year. We'll have to see what happens with that one. But for Fear the Walking Dead, people just kind of wanted to know, like, Trev, so Brian Achim said, wait, Trev, you think this is a good idea? So it's good for Fear. I think it's good for Fear. I mean, how could it be bad for Fear? Here you bring a character that's been in the Walking Dead TV series for several years. He's been a forefront character. He's been an A-lister in some episodes that he's either led himself, basically, or he's been very instrumental in All Out War. And he's been an awesome villain when he needed to be in Season 6. When he first kind of arrived and everything, kills Denise and the rest. I mean, he's a really good villain around that time. So, do I think this is a good thing for Fear? It's a great thing for Fear, but that depends on whether or not you want to see Fear the Walking Dead succeed. And not everybody does. Some people are like, yes, this is good because I'm looking forward to Fear and I want to see what they can do with Dwight in it and how that will work with Morgan and the others. And it will help bolster Fear's roster, which is very light. And so it'll be a good thing for Fear. I don't think any of us can really argue that it's going to be a bad thing for Fear. I think it's going to help Fear, if nothing else, right? It's going to give Fear a better chance to last some more seasons and continue on longer. And so for that, I am happy. Do I think it's a good idea you're taking him from The Walking Dead? Well, I think everybody would have liked to have seen him back in the original Walking Dead series and been used for a storyline as an important character there. But maybe they're just feeling like, based on the amount of characters they have in the original Walking Dead series, that they don't need to bring him back there, or, they just, for whatever reason, he won't be, and so they decide, like, okay, let's bring him into Fear instead. He'll help out Fear, and it'll be good for Fear. So I think it's a good idea for Fear, yes. But, it does take away from the original series a little bit. So a lot of people just don't... The thing is that if you don't want to watch Fear, you're going to hate the news, because then you're not going to get to see Dwight back unless you watch Fear. So it's kind of like a way, it's kind of like a Gimple way of forcing, Shredder, a Gimple way of forcing people to watch Fear the Walking Dead, even if they don't want to. If they want to see what happens to Morgan, and they want to see what happens to Dwight, and they want to see what happens to maybe Alicia and the earlier season characters, Strand and Luciana, and the newer characters they brought in too, you got to watch it. But especially as you bring more characters from the original into Fear, you make it so that people have to watch it if they want to see what's going to happen with those characters. So you're kind of sort of locking them in so they don't have much of a choice. They kind of have to watch it. And a lot of people are not happy about that. And so that I understand. But I'll just say this too. I was thinking, like, when did all the hatred of Fear start? And it wasn't really, because at first I thought, well, after the crossover with Morgan last year, that's when most people turned on Fear. And it's like, that's not really true. Like, people have pretty much hated Fear the Walking Dead since, like, the very first season. Or maybe they saw the first season, they thought it had really good potential, they were excited for it, and then by the time the second season hit, they were like, oh, I don't like this, I'm done. And a lot of people in the second season, I remember I'd be making videos in season 2, and I would just be losing like tons of subscribers. Like, it's like, why are you reviewing? Like, every weekend, like every Sunday night, Fear Beyond, I'd review it, and people would be like, I don't want to watch this, and they'd leave. And so I'm just like, should I stop reviewing Fear? And so I decided, like, no, we'll keep doing Fear, we'll keep giving our thoughts on it, we'll keep making videos for it, and people that are hardcore Walking Dead fans will like them, or will want to watch them, or will want to talk about Fear. Not necessarily the case. Fear is a strange series where even in the first 3 years, going into the 4th season, it had some kind of a fan base, but a lot of people from the original Walking Dead hated it to start. Like, they tried it, they were like, oh, that sucks, I don't want to watch it, and that's it. And then they did the crossover with Morgan, and it maybe helped out a little bit at first, but then after that, it was like, okay, then a lot of those people dropped off too. So I just don't know, man. When it comes to Fear the Walking Dead, maybe it's because it was a companion series, so it was never really, it was always kind of that additional show that AMC was using to try to capitalize, I want to say, on the Walking Dead license, which is great, and now they're going to do that even more. They're going to add on the movie, so you're going to have the 3, and then who knows, they might even add on some webisodes or something in addition to that, which I think they probably will later on. So they're really getting good mileage out of the Walking Dead license. But Fear the Walking Dead is the one, because I think everybody will love the movies. I don't think there's anybody who's going to watch Rick in the movies and say, oh, this sucks, they should have just kept him in the series. I think everybody's going to watch the movies and think, oh, this is awesome, this is so cool to get to see a Walking Dead movie, and I'm so glad they didn't just kill Rick off. And so, it's like the next best thing if he couldn't, go for every episode for shooting anymore for The Walking Dead. So, but Fear the Walking Dead, man, you guys can leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this one. I have not seen any other Walking Dead series, or be it even video game, or like with the comics and everything. It's got to be the property of The Walking Dead that is the most hated of them all. Is it because Robert Kirkman didn't write it originally and it isn't being adapted from a comic? Is it because it was unnecessary and people just viewed it as, you can do the original series, you don't need to add on another 16 episodes of Fear, so people really didn't want it? Is it because it sort of targeted a different demographic with kind of the Travis and Madison, the older characters, kind of taking the lead and kind of being like parents, and so Fear drew in a bit of an older audience at first, and now it's kind of switched its audience? Is it because it did switch and it kind of went back on what they said they were going to do with it? Or is it all of the above? And it's just what it is. Weapon X100 here says, Fear sucks. Baseball Lover 312 says, just end it, please. What the hell is this anymore? Christa's Garden says, I am over Fear. It was good until this past season. They need to just kill the show and cross Morgan and Dwight back over to The Walking Dead. I don't know, maybe it will be better next season. People have been saying that forever. We keep looking forward to it, and then everybody hates it. So, yeah. SavageRicktator says, that's really disappointing we won't see Dwight return on the main show. I kind of wanted to see him make a cameo on the Rick movie trilogy. Well, that's probably not going to happen, right? So, yeah, man, I mean, it's just where everybody's kind of at right now. I have fun with it because I enjoy, like, personally for me, out of the series that I review and the series that I enjoy watching throughout the year, I mean, obviously number one is going to be Walking Dead. Then you have other series like Gotham just started again with its last season. Game of Thrones is just ending this year. So there's other shows. Stranger Things I love too. But Fear the Walking Dead has been, it's going its 5th year. It's been consistent. I think it's at least going to get 2 or 3 more years. At least 2, I think, is a lock. The 3rd year, we'll see, but I think at least a couple more years of Fear probably makes sense in terms of predictions. That's just my thoughts on what I think we're going to see. Maybe more. We'll see. So it's kind of unfortunate that kind of Fear the Walking Dead has this kind of stigma. You guys can leave your comments below on what exactly do you think it is, or what was it for you? If you hate Fear the Walking Dead and you're pissed off that Dwight is going to it, and now it kind of forces you to watch it because you want to know what happens with Dwight and Morgan, then leave a comment below and let me know what it is about the show that turns you off so much. When did you decide that you weren't going to watch it each Sunday? When did you decide that you were done with it? And how do you feel? Does it infuriate you? Which I get this totally, that you're taking some of these characters from the original series, you're bringing them into a series that really you don't like, and so it's doing that to you. Personally, for me, I take the good with the bad. I never expected Fear the Walking Dead to really be as good as the original series. I never did. There's a couple times, season 3 is probably one of the only. First half of season 4 was really exciting for Fear, where I could put it at the same kind of level as what I usually expect for Walking Dead and what I enjoy. But aside from those 2 times, and basically killing off characters that you never thought they would, totally, out of nowhere, aside from those times, I can say that I don't think Fear has ever really been as good as the original. It may never be, and that might just be kind of what it is, right? It might always, unfortunately, be viewed as kind of the B show or that kind of thing. And that's not really what I think they want. I don't think that's what they want it to be. It was like, oh yeah, it's the B series, right? It's the B League. That's not really what they probably had set out for it to be in idea. But, unfortunately, I think that in some ways that might be the way a lot of people look at it, which is unfortunate because I do enjoy Fear. Like I said, I never expected it to be as good as the original. There are some episodes that are like, they're not that great. There's some villains like, was it Martha? that wasn't that great of a villain last year, for example. But then again, it did have some great characters that I did personally and I did personally care for. I thought they were good characters. Like, unfortunately, a lot of them were killed. Travis, and spoilers, Madison and Nick and some of the others. So, unfortunately, it didn't turn out as good as, it did have potential. Never turned out as good as we would have hoped for. But at the same time, expected it to always kind of be a little bit less than the original series. Never expected it to be as popular as the original series. And its peak point when it started and kind of just always went downhill from the starting point at it was over 10 million views when it first premiered. It had a lot of hype when it first started, and then it just never climbed back, right? It always just went down, down. So at least a couple more years, I think, and we'll see from there. TWD Pinkman says, the whole point of Fear the Walking Dead was to follow a new group of people in the zombie apocalypse. Fear is now literally just The Walking Dead because they're bringing in all the original Walking Dead characters to Fear, or they're bringing lots of them to Fear. And that's true. They brought a couple in now, and that is what we're seeing. And then Brian Achim did reply, yep, that lets you know how desperate they are. So it makes you think about the whole crossover before, and really like the question of whether or not the original premise really worked to what they wanted it to work, to how they wanted it to work. I would say it probably didn't. It probably didn't work to the extent to where they wanted it to, and that's probably why they changed it so drastically. They probably changed it so much, not just because Dave Erickson left and it was kind of his baby, but also, and I don't know if he left of his own accord or if he was kind of, okay, let's get you to work on other stuff now, or you're off the show, right? I don't know which of the two. If he left, because he had enough of doing Fear and it was voluntary, or if he was kind of ushered, if he was kind of pushed out. That's a big distinction right there between the two. Did he leave because he wanted to, or was he pushed out, and then did they bring in the other showrunners and mix the whole thing up because they just wanted to really revamp the show and do something totally different with Fear? Again, it's all private stuff. We don't know. But, you guys can speculate in the comments as well and let me know what you think. Do you think he was pushed out, or do you think that he decided it was his time to go? And in doing so, they decide, okay, we got to revamp the whole show. We'll cross it over. We'll do this. We'll do that. Give people a reason to watch. And certainly, with Morgan, that makes sense. Especially, definitely in theory, expectancy-wise, it makes sense. Sonic says, while I'm disappointed he's not in the main series, he is an incredible actor, and I enjoyed the Dwight Sherry storyline a lot. Glad we get him back in some capacity. And that brings in another good point for Sonic's. Could we see Sherry cross over too? It's a good question. Don't know. Don't know if Dwight ever did find Sherry, and that'd be something that could be cool to see. So, we'll see. Alex O'Born said, Fear is dying. Why would you put him on an already sinking ship? I think, like a lot of people here are saying, and kind of as we're thinking it through, to try to, steer the course in the right direction. Try to keep that ship afloat as long as you can. It's taking on water, but you got to try to, I don't know, you patch it up or something. You get him to, a ship hand to try to patch it up and stop the flooding, stop it from sinking. So you try, and who knows, man? If Fear can run on a lower budget and it's not a big deal for them and it doesn't cost that much to make, maybe it is doing okay. Again, they don't tell us, we don't know. James W. says, so Rick leads the movies, Morgan leads Fear, and Daryl leads the original Walking Dead. They split the three most important in Season 1 characters into a trinity of media production, bigger franchise. It's smart to do it. I'm not, and we're not talking creative here. Business-wise, it's smart, right? How can you say it's not smart to do that? You've taken what was just one show and you've turned it into a whole franchise for your network. You can do your movies. You have 32 episodes a year instead of 16. If they're profitable and if they're doing well each episode for the viewers and commercials and everything, hey, go for it, man. Why wouldn't you? And then, of course, at the same time, they're producing more content for us than they would have been otherwise, which is cool. And it allows you to do some interesting things like save Rick instead of just killing him because the series has got to go on and you don't want to take a risk. So they're taking some risks. They're making some big shifts. Is it going to work out every time to how everybody wants it? No, but they're going for it. And I think that's good because the last thing you want to do is become complacent and just kind of like, just chill and not go for it and then have everyone get bored and drop off. At least they're trying to mix some things up and they're trying to really, maybe the changes have been a little bit too drastic. You could make that argument. But at the same time, they're trying, and we'll see how it goes, man. Chris Mulcahy said, it hasn't been confirmed for The Walking Dead Season 10 yet. No, The Walking Dead Season 10 has not been officially renewed yet, but we're pretty much certain that they don't even really need to do that at this point. We pretty much know it's going to get another year. There's kind of no point. Now, for Fear to be renewed is good news because it's kind of in the territory where you're like, okay, but the original Walking Dead, no, it's a lock. There's no way they're going to let that go. Crusader PRT says, so all good. Actors move from the main show. Who's next? Negan disappears too. Who knows, man? Negan, there's big questions for the original series. Negan, Michonne, Daryl and Carol are locked for 3 years at least. And then all the others are question marks too. You don't know. But we'll see what they can build up. Obviously, someone's going to get the screen time, so some characters are going to be built up from it. And we'll see who gets the most and who gets the focus. Don Stanley will be the last one for today. Who says the reason for the crossover is because Austin is a witness in the lawsuit against The Walking Dead at AMC by the family of the stuntman that passed away. That would have been in season 8? All Out War start in the first few episodes, I think, right? Is that right? I think that's right. At least that is what I have been reading and seeing online. Well, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's a good theory. It makes sense. It fits, right? It fits. But he did finish the rest of season 8 after that happened. So does it make sense they would not have him come back to the original series because of something like that legally happening? It makes sense. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That could be why. But don't know. Don't know if it's that or it's the creative and they just don't want to bring him back because the original Walking Dead is Daryl's show and Dwight has always been sort of kind of compared to Daryl and been like a Daryl clone in some ways. Or vice versa. Well, I guess Daryl's there first because, even though Dwight was in the comic and Daryl wasn't, Daryl was in the show before Dwight was created in the comic. So that's kind of cool. So it makes sense that you split them up because there are a lot of similarities between the two. Or you make him become a villain or something. You probably wouldn't want to have them both allies on the same side unless you change up Dwight a lot. So who knows? But leave all your comments below. Let me know where you guys are at with this. How do you feel about Fear the Walking Dead? Are you going to watch it? Are you going to watch it this season? Do you want to see me do reviews for it every week? Or are you like, Trev, no, I'm done. I don't care about Dwight. I don't care about Morgan. I'm done with Fear. I'm just watching the original series. Let me know what you guys think. And if you like this video today, leave a comment for a future Q&A video. Thumb it up below. Share favorite. Subscribe at the bottom left. Thank you guys all for subscribing. And thank you guys all for your support through, Patreon, liking, sharing, favoriting, watching the videos all the way through, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. That's it for this one, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.